A land of immigrants. The USA is a land of immigrants. Between 1815 and 1914, the world witnessed the greatest peaceful migration in its history. 35 million people, mostly Europeans, left their homelands to start new lives in America. Why did these people risk everything by leaving their homes and families to see what the new world had to offer? How had the old world disappointed them? First, what forced emigrants to make the momentous decision to leave? One major cause of the exodus among European people was the rise in population, which led to land hunger. Another was politics. Nationalism brought about increased taxation and the growth of armies, and many young men fled Eastern Europe to avoid military service. Also, the failure of the liberal revolutions in Europe caused the departure of hundreds of thousands of refugees. Physical hunger provided another pressing reason. Between 1845 and 1848, the terrible potato famine in Ireland ended in the deaths of 1 million Irish people and the immigration of a further million who wished to escape starvation. Following the collapse of the economy of southern Italy in the 1860s, hundreds of thousands decided to start afresh in America. In short, people chose to leave their homes for social, economic, and religious reasons. As a result, by 1890, among a total population of 63 million, there were about 9 million foreign-born Americans. But what were the attractions? First of all, there was the promise of land, which was so scarce in Europe. Next, factories were calling out for workers, and pay and working conditions were much better than back home. Men were needed to build the long railroads, and settlers were needed to populate new towns and develop commerce. There was the space for religious communities to practice their faith in peace and comparative isolation. This immigration meant that by around the 1850s, Americans of non-English origin had started to outnumber those of English extraction. As we know, there were losers. To start with, there were those immigrants who were brought to the land by force, the slaves, to be used as a source of cheap labor for the tobacco plantations of the South. Nor should we forget the equally awful fate of the American Indians. By 1860, there were 27 million free whites, 4 million slaves, and a mere 488,000 free blacks. Nowadays, the USA is still seen by millions as the promised land. Gone are the days when you could buy US citizenship for $1. Yet, even though entry is strictly limited, refugees continue to find freedom, and people from poorer countries a better way of life. As always, it remains a magnet to the ambitious and the energetic who are ready to commit themselves to the land that gives them a second chance.